I'm Layla. Welcome to Raid Lore Stories. Today's lore story is going to be for Samson the Masher. I hope you enjoy. The tale of Samson the Masher, notorious and wildly successful gladiator of the arena city of Velazar, begins hundreds of miles from the colossal stadia, howling crowds, brilliant banners, and decadent refreshments of that storied place, on a rugged island vastly removed from luxury and fame. Southwest of Narissa are numerous such small islands inhabited by tribes long isolated from wider civilization. Their traditional hunting and gathering societies have not changed for many centuries and actively resist incursions from the outside world. Beside them, the only permanent population is composed of outlaws, exiles, pirates, and dissidents living in various weather-beaten shantytowns. Legend has it that a crew of buccaneers returned to one of their regular haunts with a foundling, a swaddled child, almost a baby, with an ape-like body and thick, matted hair, who could speak only brokenly in the dialect of the local islanders. When one pirate identified the baby as a skinwalker, many were fearful and called for the child to be killed. But the towering Lady Orc, who served their drinks, would have none of it, and none of the pirates dared upset the source of their daily tipple. So it was that the child was adopted by the whole town and grew to boyhood among the beached ships and ramshackle huts that made up its architecture, playing in the sand and using incredible strength to help with chores. But through these flint-hearted folk were kind to the gorilla skinwalker they came to call Samson. At their core, they were still ruthless pirates. One day, when Samson was nearing adulthood, a foppish, high-elf nobleman and his cortege happened upon the island. The elf was fascinated with Samson and offered a heaping chest of silver to purchase the teenage skinwalker as a curiosity. The corsairs could not resist. Heartsick and betrayed, Samson brooded in his cabin aboard the high-elf ship. But as they entered the safety of coastal waters and neared port, he spotted the pillars, domes, and lighthouses of the great nexus of Velazar and was amazed. When his high elf owner saw Samson emerge from below decks to better see the sights, he marked it well, and when they docked, he led Samson ashore not in chains, but as an equal, and together they toured the city. Samson was awed by the bazaars, enraptured with the women, and thrilled to eat exotic foods. Meanwhile, the high elf noble spoke with him, explaining his plan. He began by assuring Samson that his deal with the vagabond islanders had no legal legitimacy in civilized lands. Samson was free to go and the elf had no power over him. But with the elf's patronage and Samson's brawn, a fortune could be made and both would profit by it. All Samson had to do was follow the high elf's instructions and forgive the matter of having been forcibly parted from his adoptive family. Samson mulled this offer. He found the elf's words reasonable, but could plainly see the Arabian was vain and manipulative, wealthy in excess, and to the detriment of his moral character. So Samson resolved to accept the offer and gain wealth and power by any means, but that he would never forgive. He vowed to make the haughty elf pay someday and feel the same shame of being bought and sold like a commodity. Samson was trained in Velazar's famous fighting pits, choosing to fight with his own 2 fists and hands with brass cladding. His distinct appearance and unusual origin garnered much attention, and he thrashed all comers and rose swiftly through the ranks. Fight monkey and endorsement earnings were shrewdly reinvested. But soon the high elf grew nervous about his protege's growing wealth, influence, and autonomy. On the 3rd anniversary of Samson's debut, the elf awoke to find a chest of silver delivered to him. Counting it, he understood that it totaled Samson's price, repaid, plus 1 extra coin, as if to declare that it wasn't over yet. In the months that followed, Samson used his rising celebrity to bully the elf out of deal after deal, drying up his former master's business connections, collapsing the elf's circle of friends, and making them his own. Too proud to cut his losses, the elf struggled for some years before finally admitting defeat. He left, furious, for his ancestral estates in Arabia. Samson was satisfied to see his revenge exacted, but with his goal achieved, Samson will need to find new motivation for the challenges that will surely face him. Wow, that's a bit of a sad story, you guys. So he's found by pirates, sold into slavery, and then he decides to get revenge, right? And the person that basically bought him. And so he does end up having that, but it says in the end that now that he has sought his revenge, like he needs to find a new motivation or something new to challenge him. It's still kind of a sad story though, right? Guys, drop me some comments down below what you think for the story for Samson, and thank you so much for watching.